Okay, we've talked a little bit about different stereoisomers, and I want to go back and kind of review that before we move on to a different kind of stereoisomerism. Remember, the basic definition of stereoisomers are that they are compounds that have the same structural isomer, or that they are the same structural isomer, but they have different three-dimensional shapes. So they are connected in exactly the same way, but they have different three-dimensional shapes. So the two that we've talked about have been conformations. So examples there was our anti and eclipsed and gauche butane. Conformations are compounds that have different three-dimensional structures, but you can interconvert them by rotating around the carbon-carbon single or the sigma bond. But in the anti-eclipsed gauche conformations of butane, they all have a CH3 attached to a CH2, attached to a CH2, attached to a CH3. So it's the same structural isomer. We've also talked about stereoisomerism in terms of cis-trans isomers. And cis-trans isomers can occur either in a cycloalkane, where if both of two groups are above or below the plane of the ring, they're on the same side of the ring, that's cis, and if they're on opposite sides of the rings, that's trans. And in alkenes, both of the high priority groups are on the same side of the ring, that's cis or Z, cis or Z. And if they're on opposite sides of the ring, that's either trans or E. And so we're going to go back here and we're going to review the EZ, cis-trans, and EZ isomerism. And I'm going to throw in one additional way to break ties for the EZ system. So if you recall, in the cis-trans EZ system, if there are two stereoisomers where each carbon has one non-alkyl group and a hydrogen on each carbon in the double bond, we have a hydrogen and a non-alkyl group. If each carbon has one non-hydrogen and one hydrogen group, then we can use the cis, in this case we can use the cis-trans system to name it. And so it doesn't matter whether we choose the non-hydrogen group on each side or whether we choose the hydrogen group, we're going to end up, in this case, this is the trans isomer. And again, with this one non-hydrogen, one hydrogen group, it doesn't matter which one you choose. You're going to get the same answer. If there's three non-hydrogen groups attached to the carbon-carbon bond, then we need to use the EZ system. And typically for double bonds that are less than 8 carbons in the ring, you can only form cis double bonds, and so there's no need to label carbon-carbon double bonds in a less than 8-membered ring as cis or trans, because they're all going to be cis. Okay, so in terms of our priority, just to go back and review this, what we did was we used the Kohn-Ingold-Prelog sequence rules for comparing the two groups that are attached to each carbon. So group number one is, our goal is to determine which of the two groups attached to this carbon are the high priority, which of the two groups over here is the high priority, and then if the two high priority groups are on the same side, it's a cis, or it would be a Z for together. If the two high priority groups on opposite sides, it's an E for across. So how do we do that? We compare the groups that are attached this pair and this pair, and what we're going to do is look at the atom directly attached to this carbon in the carbon-carbon bond and the hydrogen. We compare the two atoms. If they have different atomic numbers, then the group with the highest atomic number wins. It's not atomic mass, it's atomic number, and then if there's a tie, you go with the atomic mass. So in this case, it's carbon versus hydrogen. Who has the higher priority? Carbon does. Over here, it's a bromine versus a carbon. Who has the higher priority? The bromine does. And so in this case, this is the Z isomer because they are cis. Okay, coming down here, when we have ties, we have to break them. So let's say we had these four groups and I wanted to rank them according to the Cahn-Ingold pre-log sequence rules. I would say there's a carbon, 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 chlorine. Chlorine clearly has the highest atomic number, so it would get the number 1 priority. And this is what we're going to do in this section, looking at what's called R&S. We're going to rank 4 groups, not just 2. But I don't want you to get confused because EZ, you just look at these 2 groups and then you look at those 2 groups. Okay, so when you have a carbon versus another carbon, we now have to look at what's attached to that carbon. Over here, what's attached to that carbon? 2 H's and a Cl. What's attached to this carbon? 2 H's and a C. What's attached to this carbon here? 2 H's and a C. So we look at those collections of the collection of atoms. Whichever atom clearly has the highest atomic number in this set wins. Chlorine beats everything else, and so this would be the number 2 priority group. So I got 2 hydrogens and a carbon versus 2 hydrogens and a carbon. What do I do now? Now I go to the next atoms that are attached. So I'm going to look at this carbon versus this carbon, tie. What's attached to this carbon? 3 H's. What's attached to this carbon? 2 H's and a Cl. Who wins? This chlorine wins for that group. So this is number 3, and then this would be the number 4 priority group. So we kind of did this in the last sections. So this is the way that we handle and break ties. And again, we're looking for the singular highest atom with the highest atomic number. Okay, that's what we're doing. So how do you deal with how do you deal with multiply bonded atoms? Well, the way we deal with multiply bonded atoms is we replace that multiple bond with a multiple single number of bonds. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say that I have these 4 groups. I've got a CH2OH, a C double bond O with an H, a CH double bonded to a CH2, and a triple bond. Who wins? Well, if I start my comparisons, it's carbon versus carbon versus carbon versus carbon. It's a tie. What's attached to this carbon right here? 2 H's and an O. What's attached to this carbon? Well, here's the problem. What's attached to this carbon and what's attached to this carbon? For these 3 groups, there's only 2 things in this case, or 2 things down here. There's not 3 things attached to the carbon, there's only 2. That's not a fair comparison. So what IUPAC decided to do was they said, well, we have to somehow make this carbon into a carbon that has 3 things attached to it so that we can compare its 3 things to this 3 things over here. And so what happened was they said, okay, let's write that structure out minus the double bond. So let's write it like that. Let's replace this CO double bond over here with 2 CO single bonds. So here's CO single bond number 1, here's CO single bond number 2. But we also have to look at it from the oxygen's perspective and say, Oxygen has an OC double bond, so it needs two OC single bonds. So here is OC single bond number 1. There's OC single bond number 2. Now you might say, what about these atoms that are just kind of hanging at the end? It's understood that if we ever got to those in our analysis, that they would have nothing but H's attached to them. So now let's do this one. What would the equivalent, and these are called equivalent structures, what would the equivalent structure of this be? Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this with only the single bonds in place. Now I'm going to replace this carbon-carbon double bond with two carbon-carbon single bonds. Looking at it from this carbon's perspective, it's doubly bonded, so it needs 1, 2 carbon-carbon single bonds. And again, these would be considered to be like CH3 groups. Up here, what would I have? I'm going to write my carbon-carbon triple bond as just the single bond. I'm going to write this carbon-carbon triple bond with 3. The equivalent structure would be 3 carbon-carbon single bonds. 1, 2, 3. How about from this carbon's perspective? It's got 3, a triple bond, so it needs 1, 2, 3 carbon-carbon single bonds. And so there is my equivalent structure. Again, each one of these carbons would be considered to be a CH3 group. Okay. So now I have a fair comparison. So I've got carbon versus carbon versus carbon versus carbon. And now I can say what's attached to this carbon. 2 O's and an H. What's attached to this carbon right here? 2 C's and an H. What's attached to this carbon right here? 3 C's. Okay, so now if I look through my collection of atoms here, I've got H, O, OH, and carbon. So I've got O, H, and carbon. Who has the higher priority? Oxygen does. This group has 2 oxygens. It becomes number 1. This group over here has 1 oxygen. It becomes number 2. These 2 groups down here have no oxygens. So now I'm going to compare 2 C's and an H versus 3 C's. Who wins? Well, basically it's 1 C versus an H. This would be the number 3 priority group, and then this would be dead last at 4. Okay. So now what we're going to do is now we're going to do that same analysis for our molecules for these 2 alkenes. And what I'd like you to do is I would like you for molecule A here, the video is going to stop and you're going to go ahead and give me an answer. What is this molecule? Is this E or is this Z? Okay, so when the video stops, you can go ahead and work that problem out, and then we'll come back and you'll be able to tell me whether or not, or you can, then we'll see if you got it right or not. Remember, these are participation, not necessarily exactly getting it correct. So what is A? Is A E or is it Z? Okay, what is it? Well, let's compare now again these 2 groups, and I'm going to compare these 2 groups. So carbon versus carbon tie. What's attached to this carbon? 2 H's and an O. What's attached to this carbon right here? 3 H's. Who wins? That group does. This group does. Over here, what do I have? Carbon versus carbon tie. What's attached to this carbon right here? Well, let me change pen color for a moment. And what's this carbon going to look like as a equivalent structure? So I'm going to write it out like that. The carbon-oxygen double bond gets 1, 2 carbon-oxygen single bonds. The oxygen-carbon double bond gets 1, 2 OC single bonds. So that what's attached to this carbon? 2 O's and an H. Up here, what's attached to this carbon? 2 H's and a C. 2 H's and a C. So who wins? This group wins. And so what is this molecule? It's E. Now, if you said it was Z because you got kind of snookered here by this iodine, you've got to take this step by step. Because just because you see a big atom that has a high atomic number, you may not make it that far. And in this case, we never made it that far. So you have to go step by step until you get a point of difference. And in this case, this C double bond O group wins. Okay, one more problem. Let's look at this molecule. And let's look at this molecule. Is it E or is it Z? So the video will stop and you can go ahead and work that problem out and then give me an answer on that. Okay, are you back? Then let's take a look at this one, and is it E or Z? So carbon, so we've got carbon versus carbon tie. So I'm going to say what's attached to this carbon right here? An H, a Cl, and a CH3. What's attached to this carbon? 3 H's. That one wins all day long. What do I have here? I have a C with the O and with the OCH3 here. So now I'm going to replace this carbon-oxygen double bond with 1, 2 carbon-oxygen single bonds and this OC double bond like that. So what's attached to this carbon right here? 3 O's. What's attached to this carbon here? Carbon-oxygen double bond, 1, 2. Carbon-oxygen single bonds. Carbon-oxygen single bonds, and then for the oxygen double bonded to carbon, OC single bond. What's this carbon got attached to it? 2 O's and a C. So 2 O's and a C versus 3 O's, who wins? 3 O's wins. So this molecule is also E because they're opposite. Okay? So that's our sort of refresher of E and Z, and you may say, well, why did you go back and review this? And the answer is because in the next video, we're going to be comparing 4 groups at a time, not just 2 of E and Z, but 4 groups, and we're going to have to rank those groups from number 1, highest priority, to number 4, lowest priority, using the Kahn-Ingold pre-log sequence rules. And so that's what we'll do in the next section.